2 weeks ago, we finally sold our house. And on one hand, I'm so glad that we finally sold our house. We had it on the market for over a year. And yet, and I'm sure you could all identify with this, when I was cleaning out the shed and all the different things, I went through all the little toys that Rachel had, all the little things we used to throw in the pool, and the little bases we used to play wiffle ball, and her swing set, and there was all these things, and I found myself getting choked up, thinking, first of all, how wonderful so many of those things were. She literally had her first birthday in the house, and then she just celebrated her 21st birthday, so we were there for 20 years, so her whole growing up occurred in the house, and so I found myself getting emotional over that. That's over. That's the loss of that. In fact, I can remember when I was buying the house and the guy who was selling, I said, oh man, so he's been there for the whole time and now he's leaving. And then I had the thought, now I'm that guy, because now I was leaving. And I thought of that and I thought, isn't that such a powerful thing that we all experience in our life, and that is grieving and loss. It's such a part of being human. And I know some of you right here today have lost your husbands. You've experienced the hurtfulness and the loss of that. And what do we do with that? What do we do with the fact, with the reality that we're all going to experience a loss? If I asked all of you, has anybody here ever had their heart broken? Has anybody ever experienced loss or grieving on some level? You're all shaking your head right now as we're talking, right? So it's a common human experience about grieving the loss. And I even think about, we have Jesus on the cross, and yet this same guy is saying, I have come for you to have life in all of its abundance. So how is it that abundant life, also incorporated in abundant living, also involves an agony or a suffering or a loss or a grieving? So we can't live our life trying to avoid that, trying to skirt that. And then when it does come, while of course our normal tendency is to say, no, I want to deny that, I want to have a defense about that. But ultimately, when it does come, we have to say, sooner or later, we're all going to experience a loss or grieving of whatever it might be. So, I was doing something, and of course, I was driving by where Jersey freezes up in Freehold, and there's Barnes & Noble to the side. So I'm driving, I'm not going in, I'm not going in. I have to go in. There's no way I can drive by Barnes & Noble and not go in. So I went in there and looking around and like that, and I see this book by Viktor Frankl, and it says, Yes to Life in Spite of Everything. Now again, if you recall, Viktor Frankl was a Jewish psychiatrist in Vienna, in charge of this whole neurology department in Vienna, and then was eventually captured by the Nazis. And he was in Auschwitz and in Dachau. And the guy basically survived because all the guards would try to pick his brain and ask him questions about their marriage or about different problems that they had. So that's really why he wound up living. But his mother and father were killed. His pregnant wife was killed. And his brother was killed. And here he is, Dr. Frankl, and he's like, my hair is shaved off. I'm like number 427,072. That's who I am now, right? No longer Dr. Frankl. And everybody that he knew and loved was killed. Now just imagine for a moment, I thought about that. I thought, imagine yourself. You're in Auschwitz. You have your head shaved. You have a number on your arm. And all the things that you identify yourself with, the people that you know and love, the house you live in, the car you drive, the amount of money you have in the bank, and how you look, and everything like that, all gone. says that experience was so powerful for him because he really got a sense of, who am I? Who am I when all of that is taken away? This was this powerful moment this guy has. Now, can you imagine that? So he says what it really comes down to is the human being. The human being prescinding from all those things, right? I mean, I stand here today and I can honestly say, on some level, like I'm propped up. I'm propped up by various external things that are in my life. You know what I mean? I'm not very good when I'm trying to make an appointment with Comcast and it doesn't go my way. I get like all rattled. And now we have Viktor Frankl at Auschwitz. I mean, it's like, oh my God, I'm like a lightweight, totally. But isn't that an interesting thing to just stop? And I know that's very powerful here in the morning here. But imagine yourself, everything is taken away. And in that moment, what's left? What's left is the very essence of who you are, which is who you are. You're not any of those trappings. And yet what could happen is we could feel diminished when they're taken away. Even when there's a loss of a spouse, or there's a breakup or something like that. Like somehow, like I've been diminished because this loss has been taken away. So Frankl comes out of this experience and he says, ultimately, we have to live our lives not questioning life. Why did this happen to me? Why did that happen to me? That's not fair. How come them and not me? How come me and not them? That's not right. We're going through the COVID, this pandemic. Everywhere we go, right? You got to stand online. You go to Wawa. You go to Hershey bar. You got to. Okay, yes, sir. Where's your mask? What is it? Right? Go back and get your mask. Okay, I got to go back. And really, what I know what I can do is like, why does this happen? When is this going to be over? When am I going to get a vaccination? No. That's not what's going on. What's going on is, who is this me, and how am I dealing with and contending with the coronavirus? Who is this me that's dealing with selling the home and grieving the loss of things? Rachel's now not going to go back to George Washington because there's no point to it, because there's going to be like one class that they're going to go to and everything else is online and everything else is closed, so she's not going. So I feel bad for her. But the real question is, and probably the best way for me to be a dad to her is to help her, okay, so this is what's happening. Now, how are you going to deal with it? How are you going to deal with what's going on? So Frankl says, we live our lives always questioning life, and the way to find meaning and purpose in your life is to flip it around and realize life is always asking you a question. Who are you? You're a friend to somebody. You're in a committed relationship with somebody. Life is asking you the question, how loyal are you? Do you have that person's back? Are you really going to stand up for your friend or for your partner that you're committed to? Who are you in that? Somebody hurts you. Somebody betrays you. Life is asking you the question, can you forgive? Are you a forgiving person? It's so interesting how we say the Our Father, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. We're very good at saying that. I mean, really, we have that Our Father down, right? But wow, let's just stop. Let's not just breeze through the Our Father. Life is asking me a question in that prayer. Do I forgive those who have trespassed against me? I can say it, but do I do it? How loving are we? How committed are we? Can we forgive? Life is always asking us these questions. And life, I think, always asks us this question when we experience the death of somebody that we love. Where is that person right now? What do you believe? Life is asking you the question, what do you believe? I was talking to a woman the other day, and boy, they had such a great, I've known him for 15 years, and he was 60 years old, and he passed away. And she's so devastated. And she really doesn't believe that there's a life after death. And I found myself talking to her saying, like, listen, in some ways this isn't really about, I get that you're grieving and I want to be present to what you're experiencing, like, as we're talking. But I said, well, I can't help but say, like, I just want to share this because I do think it's a part of it that when we're grieving the loss and the death of somebody, that I just think we're slapped in the face with the question, where is this person right now? And for her, she was like saying, I want to believe that and I struggle with that, but I don't know. I don't know whether we just live and die. So some guy who takes the beach in Normandy in 1944, and he was 20. Oh well, that's it. And as we were talking, I found myself saying this: I don't believe in life after death. I don't have faith in life after death. I know there's life after death. In fact, I would like to say that there is no such thing as death. That your husband is alive, and your husband is alive, and the people that we know and loved, they have just left their bodies. That we are these eternal spirits living in these bodies. And life is asking us a question. What do you believe? And do you believe it and do you live it in your life? Every day. What's the point of believing something and then we're not living it in our heart? That's the problem when it gets to religion. Religion is a means to an end. It's not an end in itself. If it's an end in itself, it goes nowhere and it's bankrupt. That religion is a vehicle through which we grow and we transform in our mind and our heart. And we change and we shift and we live every day in this awareness that I'm on this planet Earth for X amount of time, and while I'm here, I really believe that Jesus is saying, when you're living your life on the planet Earth, stop questioning life. Stop it. And recognize that it's life always asking you, who are you? How do you love? Do you forgive? Do you believe that we're eternal? Do you go out there every single day and say, not why me, but given whatever's going on, what can I do to become more alive in my mind and my heart? Be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Be transformed in the way you see and experience every second of your life. Let life question us. I believe that's what Jesus meant when he said, I have come that you may have life in all of its abundance.